Hey everybody, Rocco Castellano here with my partner Neil Van Tronkerman. Look at that! I said it perfectly today. and today on our call, we're really going to be talking about the 3 mistakes that fitness trainers make that actually keep them stuck in their business, that don't allow them to move forward, and a lot of times tend to kind of make them slowly disappear, and they don't even know it. It's one of the most common challenges that we've seen so far in the fitness industry. And so, Neil, what are the 3 big mistakes that fitness trainers make? Or just give me one for the time being, okay?
Okay, I'll give you all 3 right now. Here we go. Sorry. Okay, so the first one, and it's not really mistakes. It's more like insights that they haven't seen yet in their business that's holding them back, and they don't know about it. But I think these are more fundamental things, much more important than just the training and going out there and doing the work. So the first insight that I've picked up over the last 3 years is, I call it peaks and valleys. Okay, and what this is that we unintentionally create peaks and valleys in our own business. So let me give you an example of what a peak and valley is. Say in January or February, when the market's hot, everyone wants to work out, everyone's doing well, you get an influx of clients coming in. Okay, if you're not getting an influx of clients coming in, that's a separate conversation for a different day, and we'll deal with that then. But let's assume for a second you get an influx of clients coming in January, February. So what the typical scenario does is a trainer would now go and work those clients, right? It makes sense. Turn them into clients, give them good service, but no marketing is done, right? And then what happens, you'll probably carry along the way till February, March, April, and then all of a sudden, spring will hit or the summertime will hit, and you start to lose clients through attrition, okay? The reason you start doing that, then you start panicking, and then you start doing some work. You're like, oh, let me go get some clients, let me go find some clients. Now all of a sudden you went from a peak to a valley. And what you're trying to do now is to try to climb out of that valley again. So you go and do some work. Maybe you run a transformation contest. My favorite one is a Groupon. Someone will go run a Groupon deal, get a slew of clients coming in for a week or 2 or whatnot, and then they completely stop everything, right? And then they'll start working on those clients again. And then all of a sudden, by the middle of June, towards the end of July, there's no more clients. All clients have gone through attrition. They've lost a lot of the clients. They don't have enough money to pay the bills again. Okay, so if you look at a typical fitness trainer's business, whether it's personal trainer, yoga, Pilates, an average fitness trainer's business, for some reason, there's peaks. You can actually see the peaks. Okay, and then the sad thing is that there's more valleys than actually peaks in someone starting off. And what that does is it completely messes you up. It completely messes you up as a trainer, because if you think about it, I just look at the Department of Labor Bureau. I looked at the statistics yesterday. I had nothing better to do, so I went there and I said, okay, what's the average?
Nothing better to do, right?
Yeah, nothing better to do. So I said, what's the average salary for a personal trainer? I'm just going to take personal trainers as a proof point. $32,500. Now, if you think about that, it's about $10,000 more than poverty line in this country, right? Now, some personal trainers will say, "Oh, wow, that's a great salary. I can live on that," right? Or
where? Wait a second. Where can you live on 32?
In Africa, right? You can live in it in Africa, right? In Zimbabwe, Africa, you can live with $32,000. But here's the really sad thing of this thing, and this is what people don't get. And we probably need to do some financial Google Hangouts and talk about finances and stuff. You think you're getting $32,500. That's a lie. 1/3 of that is going to go for business expenses. I don't care who you are, what business you are in. If you're running a business, some of that is going to go for business expenses, period. Maybe if you're lucky, now you can say, hey, just because I'm earning so less money, so I'm going to pay less taxes. Maybe you pay 25% taxes. 25 has to go to Uncle Sam, okay? Or, you got a few deductions, you pay less. So literally, you're sitting with like 10 grand in your pocket after tax. Now, You got to eat. I'm sure you want to have food with your meals.
Not just water.
Maybe okay. Yeah, maybe some water or something. You want to go for conferences. You want to go for a holiday. You have relationships, support a family, and as you can see, really bad state of affairs, right? This is the average person. And what the average trainer don't get, and the biggest mistake that they make is the reason that causes all of that is the peaks and the valleys, the peaks and the valleys, the peaks and the valleys. It's not how good you are as a trainer, how many clients you're helping out, how many people you've gotten. We're not running a business like the way a business should be run. I don't care whether you're a one-person trainer working for a corporate gym, you're probably earning $32,500 a year, or you own your own business and you're struggling. One thing you can't see is you've got to look below the surface and see, hey, where's my peaks? Where's my valleys? Okay, and then you almost need to say, how do I come out of that peak and valley situation? Because if you can, there should be no reason why you can't have a smooth business flow throughout the entire year. If you don't, it's just an excuse. Oh, it's summertime and clients leaving. Sure, it's going to be summertime and clients leaving. But if you put systems in to get new clients, ask for referrals, continuously focusing on that business, right? Even if people take 2 weeks off in the summer, the average American person only has 2 weeks of holiday, period, right? Even if people are taking 2 weeks off in the 3 months of summer, or in Chicago, 3 weeks of summer, you still have the ability to earn consistent cash flow coming in. If you don't earn the consistent cash flow, it's going to kill you. And trainers I know, and you know this, Rock, is focusing on the wrong problem. Eliminate the peaks and valleys, smooth out your business flow, and if you have the tools to do that, you're going to be okay.
Well, and so many times, I hear this, I can't tell you how many times, Danielle, about how summertime is the worst. There's like 3 times of the year that is the worst times. It's the holidays of December, July and August, and then and then there's always some other time that they don't.
Yeah, it's almost like winter, which is December, January, summer for 3 months. And maybe spring. So maybe we have 1 season left.
It's like 1 season that you're making money. But the thing is, it's really not that hard. Now, every business is going to go through peaks and valleys. But see, what I'm getting from you, Neil, is that these peaks and valleys are so deep and so high because the trainers aren't really preparing. And you know what? You're allowed to have, little peaks and valleys, because that's really the way that business goes. There's going to be an ebb and a flow, every time. But you don't want those deep, because when you're preparing and you're planning for that stuff, if you have a huge peak in March, let's say, well then you can now say, well, you know what? What did I do? How did I do that? And you can even it out. Now, summertimes, I knew that everyone in Cincinnati was going to go on vacation for like 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. It was absolutely inevitable in July. So I started training beauty queens, and because their season is September, October, and November, and I train beauty queens from May, June, July, and August, and I filled my pipeline with that type of clientele, and that was only one of the things. During the holidays, right? I had a holiday special that people came in. And then I brought them all the way through till March. So many times when you feel yourself in a peak and a valley, and I'm going to tell you, peaks and valleys are fucking exhausting. They are absolutely exhausting to you and your business. I mean, I can't tell you, if you're going all the way up and you have all these clients coming, you're like, holy shit, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die with all these clients. And then all of a sudden you hit this valley and you're going, wait a second, I gotta get all these clients back. And you're like anxious and you're annoyed and you're just, what the hell happened? And that's exhausting also. So I know Neil's is gonna give us some really great advice to kind of stop that peak and that valley and to smooth out the business.
Right.
So Neil,
the big analogy I want to leave you is, being in Vegas last week. If your valley is as big as the Grand Canyon, you better start filling it up quickly. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. So this is going to lead me to my next point. Okay. The second biggest reason, and it all kind of ties together, why fitness businesses fail. So the first thing, you want to have a system to smooth out the whole peak and valley, as you mentioned, Rock. The second thing is not knowing where your next lead is coming from. I'm going to repeat that. The worst thing in the world as a fitness trainer is not knowing where the next lead is actually coming from. So let me ask you a question, Rock. What is even better than money in a fitness business?
What's better than money is an actual client.
Is an actual client, right?
Yeah.
An actual client. You actually taught me this, right? You're getting the client, but even better than that, if we were to take it one more step, is peace of mind. You keep telling me
is to have a basically, we always talk about a pipeline. Like we talk about a pipeline, and that's what we want, filled, where there are potential customers is actually sometimes better than actual customers.
Well, yeah, and if we were to take it one higher level than that, you have the customer, you have the pipeline. The very top of the pyramid is choice. Choice is better than any amount of money you have in your pocket, because the worst thing you want to do is get a client in that totally sucks. You get one of these clients coming in, will beat you down for the price, will complain about everything you do, you're not pushing them hard enough, or they're too sore today. They'll eat McDonald's on the way home as soon as they walk out of the gym, and then they're putting on this additional weight, never listen to a word you say as a trainer, don't take you seriously, and that is choice. If you don't have leads coming in, you don't have choice. You don't have choice, you don't have peace of mind, and everything we just discussed all goes to hell in a handbasket. So what happens is you end up working with people you don't like working with. You hate your job. Everything falls apart. And you can never get, when you get stuck in that rut, people ask, oh, I'm stuck in the rut, I'm so despondent, I've got financial bills, I can't make my payments, I got a bigger facility, all because they don't have choice in their business. So the way to avoid making those huge mistakes is to know exactly where your next lead is coming from, right? And this is the biggest mistake that most people make. I'm not just saying, hey, know that I got a website, I'm getting 5 clicks or 10 calls or this, that. If you don't know this week how you're going to get a new client next week, you don't know exactly where that leads come from, you're in serious, serious trouble. It means you're still playing at an amateur level, okay? You haven't qualified to professional status. And what's going to happen is you're going to disappear. You're going to kill yourself over time. Your business is gone, right? Now, it's so funny. I hear this all the time, right? Very successful trainers, the professional trainers, the very best of the best, when they're giving advice to someone starting off or someone's just get going and struggling and finding it hard, they'll say, oh, focus on your clients. Make sure you take care of your clients and give your clients a good experience. That's correct. That is absolutely true. You need to do this. But the problem is, if you're here and if you're looking at a professional over there and you're focusing on your clients, and if you don't have new clients coming in, what the heck are you going to do? You obviously always need to give good experience. That's a given. That is not even a consideration, because if you don't do that, you're going to be out of business anyway. But if you can't tell exactly where your next lead is coming from, you're in serious trouble. I don't care who you are or what you are, or where you think you can do that. And just to finish up this point, the way you want to do that The number one way of actually filling up your pipeline is to differentiate yourself. The problem is that today we have too many people doing the same cookie cutter thing every single way around your business. If you don't believe me, do yourself a favor. Pick up the phone and call 5 businesses in a 5 square mile radius from you. Call them up. Okay, number one, it'll be an interesting lesson to learn. Number 2, it'll be hilarious. Number 3, you'll actually see what you're doing is no different from them. Now, when I mean differentiate yourself, not in your mind. Okay, obviously you need to differentiate and have the positioning, but your clients need to know that, people need to know that, people in the community need to know that. If you're not differentiating yourself, you're going to find it very, very difficult to fill up the pipeline. And not enough thought and effort is given to find out the points of difference and communicating it clearly so people can come in and you know exactly where the net leads come from in your business.
Well, Neil, I want to touch on a point that you made about, like the other gurus and the top guys. I consider myself one of those guys, and I have to tell you, the thing is that we lie a lot of times. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I don't mean to. I really sincerely don't mean to, and it's not a real like, oh, I'm going to lie to you because you're an asshole or whatever. But the real the realization is that we at the top tend to not realize that we're already doing a lot of the stuff that we're supposed to be doing. So, when I was talking about, you made a great point about choice, because see, the thing is, that wasn't even something that I would even think about, because I always had choice. I always had choice. The way that I conducted business was that, you know what? If you're an idiot and you eat fucking McDonald's, I'm not gonna train you. Get the fuck out of here, because my pipeline was always full. I always had that choice. It was never. But now, for me to tell somebody, and I'm a huge advocate, just like you. Get the leads, get the pipeline, get that pipeline filled, because if you don't have that pipeline, you'll never be able to pick up the phone so many times. And this is another talk for another time, but I always teach my clients about how to have a call list or like a waiting list. Now, it's not just my current clients, but like certain clients want to train 3 times a week. So if somebody cancels, then we have somebody in there. It's the same concept. It's the exact same concept that we have when we have leads. I always had, when I was training, 100-person waiting list. It was, and people were like, "Oh, fuck you! No, you don't." No, I had nearly 200 people come to my boot camp because I had 100 people in there. So it was very, very easy for me, and I was famous for firing clients. I was famous because I did have that choice. So, I'm going to tell you, when we're talking to you sometimes, and I want you guys out there to do me and Dax and Parrot, all the big guys out there, okay, John Spencer, if we say something and you don't understand it, ask us to clarify it, because we don't mean to lie, but sometimes we do, because we've been doing stuff for so long that it just became second nature to us. And a lot of times, what's second nature to me isn't second nature to you. And I just want you guys to call us up, call us on it, do whatever, because sometimes you go to conferences, you listen to us, and you say, well, I know I'm supposed to do that, but Rocco didn't really say what was supposed, what I needed to be said. Call us out. I always feel like whenever I hear somebody say something, I just want them to be a little more clear, because I've been doing this for 35 years.
Right.
It's a long time.
Yeah. One more tip on that whole thing, and again, it's another mindset stuff. Most people get a client in to get a paycheck, right? And everyone's the same. We get a client in because we want to get paid. If you really look at the top guys get a client in to earn another client.
Right.
Not about the paycheck. There's a subtle difference there, right? Because some people will get the client in, they'll work the client, they'll get the paycheck, client leaves in 8 months, boom, transaction over, it's done. But the top guys will say, hey, now, how can I have a script? And they have written scripts and written tools and procedures and policies in place and say, how can I get this person to refer me? How can I turn this? Because it's easier getting a referral from an existing client than going out and marketing a new client. And if you're doing it by chance, and getting up in the morning and saying, hey, I want to ask for a referral today, you already lost the game. You need to have a proper system in place, dialogue, scripts. You need to be able to practice it so much that it comes out naturally. And we do a lot of this in our bootcamp weekend, where we actually go through the methodology. But the tip I want to leave you here, don't get a client as a means to a paycheck. Get a client in because you know that person has the ability to help you grow your business and get you 1 client, 2 clients, 5 clients, 10 clients. If you systematize that, you'll know exactly where your client leads are coming from.
Well, and we're not really talking about, picking and choosing that client. Say, oh, and ask them stupid questions like, how many friends do you have, or something stupid like that. It's the ability to have confidence in your scripts, in the way that you choose your clients. I always talk about getting customers or getting clients that share the same core values and the same like-mindedness that you have. Most of us want to train who we are, basically, a lot of times. And so if you can do that, if you can really drill down who your ideal client is, then you'll know that they will have friends and people that have the same core values, the same like mind, the same activity, the same types of things that you want in an ideal client. If somebody's not listening to you, eating McDonald's, don't ask those people for a referral because they have the same assholes and the same asshole mindset that their friends have. Okay, that's kind of what Neil is like talking about when you're thinking about it. I always knew that I would be able to get at least 1, 2, or 3 people from every client that I got. And I was a great trainer too, but it was also because I worked it and I worked it. It wasn't just every whenever I needed clients, I would work the marketing system. It was every day, and you put
it was a system in place, right? It was.
Well, I had several systems in place.
Several.
I mean,
right.
You always have at least one. If you don't have at least one system in place, you'll always have peaks and valleys. Always. That's a given. If you have one, you'll start to flatten out those peaks and valleys. But if you have 2 systems and you're coming at people from 2 different sides, then you'll absolutely start to flatten that out. And like we had, Neil, how many? Shoot, we have a lot of systems in our own business here. I mean, like coming from Facebook, and we always talk about these non-online systems, which we have like the mayor campaign or the welcome to the neighborhood stuff. I had a welcome to the neighborhood thing, and I had a referral system where I basically employed a hair salon owner. She brought in so many referrals. I was paying her nearly sometimes $2,000 a month.
Wow.
For the referrals.
Mm.
I had real estate agents that I gave out, a welcome to the neighborhood packets, and and they were. It was constantly somebody new coming into Cincinnati or into Covington or Newport, and they were coming in and they were trying us out because we had that system in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many systems. So, just saying that, I know one trainer where I work at, he used to go do presentations at the real estate offices, helping real estate agents get fit and nutrition and whatever. And it's amazing how many of them should enjoy those things. And then he did exactly what you did. He gave each one of them like a series of 20 welcome packets every quarter. And they just handed it out for him. I mean, welcome to the neighborhood. Okay, so now let's move on to our third item here. Okay, and this is going to be a little bit controversial, but I love controversy. You don't like controversy.
I hate controversy.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly and passionately believe this, and it'll probably be coming out in our new book as well, is that the reason why. Let me share a stat with you. The problem is having a one-person business. This is the third problem. So let me share a stat with you. In Jim Collins' Good to Great, and then recently, I think it was Wall Street Journal or one. I get this wrong, so don't quote me on this. One of the big newspaper services did a study of all the small businesses that were opened up in 1990, and they revisited them in 2003. So over the period of time, they just followed them along, right? And they went through the whole process. And we're talking about small to medium businesses, anywhere from between 50,000 all the way up to 20 million, 30 million, less than $50 million businesses. And they found that 78% of them were no longer in business. If you open up a business in 1990, by the time 2003 rolled around, 78% of them were gone. Right? Think about that stat for us. It's tough. Now, 95% of all new businesses fail in the first year. There's no secret to that. And then of the people that stay in the first 5 years, 95% of that 5% actually fail. And then the ones that have remained, less than 5%, 95% of them fail in the first 10 years. So the numbers for a small business is not very exciting. And as a fitness professional, we are small businesses, right? Now, why is that important to you? I'm not saying to give you depressing stats and saying there's no hope or future for your business.
I'm ready to cry, Neil.
Yeah. Like, the number one reason for that is the reason why most of, do you know we have like 25 million small businesses in this country, in America, right? Yep. 20 million of them are a one-person business. Let that number sink in. 20 million of them are a one-person business. We're lucky, Rock, because there's two of us here right now.
Yes, there's two of us.
Right, but
we have 8 workers working for us.
Right. But the point is this: the reason why they fail is because they were a one-person business. Now, let's think of it. If you're a one-person business, and let's just say you're making $20,000 a month, and after all your expenses, you're making 10 grand. Hey, by the way, you're rich because it's like $120,000 a year, right? And if you think about it, that's over not many people are earning over 6 figures. You have 10% of the population, or something like that, earning over 6%. So you're probably feeling good about yourself. Now, hey, I just made 100K, but that's actually a lie, because what you haven't done is you haven't accounted for the people you should have employed to help you get to that 100K, right? So whether you need an admin assistant, a sales agent, a trainer, whatever it is, because here's the reality of the situation. Number one, you are the business. If you get sick for 2 or 3 days, you get knocked over by a bus, there's a tsunami, the road closes down because some idiot in Chicago want to fix the roads for 2 weeks, so they close the whole road down, which happens all the time in Chicago.
And they never tell you.
You never tell you. You find out that, hey, the whole road's closed and you are in serious trouble. More importantly, the stat shows that 78% of all one-person businesses are not around anymore. It's telling you something. Now, here's the biggest problem I see with fitness trainers. They'll make some money. Then they'll find it difficult to hire a part-time admin assistant. They'll find it difficult to hire a trainer. They'll find it difficult to go to ELATs or somewhere to outsource to help them get certain things done. Because you know why? Because now you're doing all the peak and valley stuff in your business. You're doing all the stuff that needs to be done but really doesn't matter. Okay? So good for you if you're making 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. But the reality of the situation is you are on your way to disappearing. Don't bluff yourself that you're making $10,000, you're dominating. That's a lie. Okay? What's happening is you unknowingly, and we don't do this consciously. It's all an unconscious thing that's happening. You are slowly, your business is about to disappear and you don't know it. You know why? Because when you have a valley, which is going to happen to you, how do you recover from the valley if you're doing every single thing in your business? It's impossible. You can't do it. At some point, the human body has limitations. Limitations are coming up with new ideas, thought, thinking, work. If you're going flat out 6 days a week, haven't taken a vacation, your body's going to give up and something's going to happen to you. So the point of this is that a one-person business, I don't care whether you're a trainer, you're 1099 and all you do is you train every day, and that's all you do. Or you're a 10-man business or whatever. If you're a one-person business, chances are you're going to struggle, you're going to disappear, and more importantly, you're never going to grow that business. Okay? And even if you're growing, it's the false sense of growth. Those numbers are not right because you should be allocating it out to other people. And when the stats show, you're probably going to be out of business, if not now, in the near future. So here's what you need to do here. You need to start thinking of your business and people you bring in as not expenses. You see, you know, I have an accounting degree. I studied 7 years, not because I failed so many times, that's because I needed 7 years to become a chartered accountant. That's like, you know, you go from degree, advanced degree, and
well, it's like a doctorate in accounting.
Doctorate in accounting, yeah, and you go through more levels of training and stuff like that. And I'll tell you this, what I learned for big companies are completely different for small businesses. I had to uneducate myself and relearn how a small business works. The problem is big companies see an expense or a salary as an expense, excuse me. They'll hire an assistant, hire someone, oh, you know, this month we didn't even make enough money for our shareholders. You know what, we'll just fire 20,000 people. Thank you very much for playing. Boom, they're gone. Right? Next month they'll bring another 20,000 in. Just before, you always notice before the quarterly reports happen, that's when all the hiring and firing happens because they show all the numbers, right? So this is big business accounting. No one knows how to do accounting for small businesses. Even small business owners don't do. Here's the mindset for you. An expense, a person in a small business is not an expense. A person in a small business must always be seen as revenue. Always be seen as revenue. There's two ways of looking at it. Let's say you hire an admin assistant, right? The admin assistant frees you up 3 or 4 hours a day. Let's just say you hire a part-time person. It frees you up 3 to 4 hours a day. You then becomes the front person for that business, not doing the admin work, to go and sell and fill up that pipeline and get your next lead in. Revenue. Now you're making more money to support the admin person, but getting back to your normal income again. That admin person now, when the call comes in, what does that person have to do? That person needs to be able to have these tools and skills on the phone to close the deal. You can't buy that kind of revenue. When you start thinking of numbers in terms of revenue and not expenses, this is when growth happens. This is when you have choice. This is when you're not the only person that's reliant on the business and your business fails. You are disappearing if you don't do that. If you hire a trainer, you're paying the trainer what? For boot camps between 20 to 25 bucks, maybe very top end 30 bucks. Personal trainer, you probably pay 15 bucks an hour or something. You know, the average, I don't know, 15 to 20 bucks an hour. And if you only think that person is there to fill that particular spot, then you are doing the business wrong, right? You're not looking at them as an income generating source. Your trainers need to be, you need to hire someone in, not to give the best experience. You expect them to do that. You expect them to bring in the referrals, so you need to have systems and processes to bring them in. That is how you do accounting for a small business. That is how you run your financial numbers for a small business. It requires a different skill set and thinking pattern to win. And what I'm telling you here is exciting because for this very simple reason, your competitor doesn't have anyone but themselves, right? So if you can figure out your accounting and saying, hey, if I hire this someone person, I'm going to take the lead. I'm going to I'm going to bring enough revenue to hire the next person. I'm going to have that goal, and that person's going to continue to help me build my business. You win. You're now growing your business. You're dominating, not disappearing, right? And you know, this is the tool to run a small business, to run a fitness business, to win in the marketplace.
Well, Neil, you know, so many times we talk about, you know, small businesses have to utilize their personnel as an asset. We always talk about, you know, and an asset is something that's going to give you return on your investment. That's what an asset does. So, you know, like Anil said, big businesses look at it as an expense. We look at people, admin assistants, and those and our trainers as assets. And when you have a really good asset, you'll always get a great return on your investment. If you're not getting a return on your investment, then they're not an asset, they're a liability. And I
hire the wrong person, basically. Oh, there's two reasons. You either hire the wrong person that's not getting you the money in,
right?
Or you didn't train them and have the systems to turn them into a money-generating machine for you.
Well, and that's where you know, there's many systems that we do have to put in place in order to get the right training to the right people to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, the right training to the right people to do the right thing. Okay, now just a really quick story before we go is I was, for the longest time, when I had Rocco's Complete Fitness Systems in Covington and Cincinnati, I was a one-man band, and I couldn't keep up with all the shit that I had to do. I was on the phone, I was getting clients, I was on the radio, I was writing, you know, syndicated columns, I was on TV, I was fucking all over the place, right? And one of the things, and I was doing like $120,000 to $250,000, you know, in my first year, and I went. I mean, like my business just exploded, and I couldn't. And I was literally so overwhelmed, I couldn't do anything. I was stuck in a fucking time warp. It felt like. And the one thing I did that was so amazing was I said, you know what? I got to get an assistant, and when I hired like this girl that I trained, and we were friends and all that, Heather, basically I trained her in exactly what I wanted done, exactly, because I knew what I was doing was right, because it filled up my pipeline. I was making all this money. I just couldn't make any more. I was literally at a point that I couldn't make any more money. I had no more time, and I was just freaking the fuck out. And what happened was I wanted to, so when I hired Heather, right, she took all the calls. She was the one that was like scheduling stuff. She was the one that was doing all the stuff on the web that I needed. And then, I mean, it freed up so much time that I was literally able to go out, shake hands, kiss babies, do all the stuff that I was really good at. And then it literally, within 1 year, doubled my income. I went from making $250,000 to making $500,000. And the thing is, it only cost me about $30,000 to make an extra $250,000. So when you think about it, you're like, you know, everybody's like, oh my God, I got to pay another $15 an hour. And Neil, you always break my balls about this. Mm-hmm. And I still suffer from it. I'm not going to bullshit anybody here. But, you know, a lot of times we're stuck doing a $10 an hour work when we should be doing $100 to like $250 an hour work. Now, I mean, I get yelled at by Neil all the time because I want things done a certain way, like a web page or whatever, and he's like, no, go get somebody else to do it. And we have like these little fucking arguments about that. But I still get stuck in that same thing. But now, I'm getting better at it, obviously, because we're making money and stuff like that. But that's the thing, is that, once you get out of that and you start thinking about the employee or the worker as an asset, then you will always, and as an asset that will make you money or generate revenue, that's when your thinking and your whole business actually changes.
Right. No, that's a great point. And just to wrap it up, if you always stuck at the one-person business, you're not stuck of not making more money. You probably can only reach a certain point, but you're at the danger of going out of business, and the numbers don't lie. And you're not saying that to scare you, but you need to be thinking in a way, understanding business concepts in a way that can help you accelerate, and that's what it is. Well, that's the 3 things we had this week, Rock.
It went a lot longer than we thought it was, but
yeah, hopefully, people get a lot of value from it, and we have our next one-day boot camp in San Francisco, and we're having one-day workshops throughout the country. If you're listening to this, come and join us. We usually charge hundreds, if not thousands, usually for a day with us, but it's only $97. Spend an entire day. We're going to go through these systems in some detail. Stop the peaks and the valleys, right? We're going to talk about how you fill up that pipeline to get that next lead. And then what are some of the tools you need as a business owner to run your business? Whether you're an independent employee or independent contractor, doesn't matter. One of the other things we can do this is that most of us don't have the skills for this market to turn their business around. And that's what we're going to give you. We're going to give you the new skills, the new thinking, and the way things are done to run successful businesses. But hope you enjoyed the session.
Well, this is Rocco Castellano for Neil Benchonka and Ask Rocco Media. And come join us in San Francisco, August 24th. You'll get all the details at AskRoccoMedia.com. And again, for Neil Benchonka, Ask Rocco Media, this is Rocco Castellano reminding you, the least you can do is live up to your potential.